Great.
Welcome to another episode of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Descent into Avernus, which is actually where we're at, so there's no more descending.
I mean, you say that, but...
that I know of. I mean,
not possible.
Not as much descending as there once was. More,
so
we're here, now what, you know. So, let's do some...
There's 8 more floors, you know.
Then it's not Avernus anymore. So let's get some introductions, and then we'll do a bit of a recap. So, starting randomly, we're going to begin with Shy.
Oh no. Darn it. Hi, I'm Shy. I'm playing as Coyra, a half-elf druid that still hates that wood. Bispo questioned me if I still do, and yes I do. Also, this is Techie.
Perfect. All right, next we've got Tim.
Hi, I'm Ghostwoods. I'm playing Thorn, an Elven Gleamstalker Ranger. I don't have Sticky, but I have Bagpuss.
Bagpuss, oh.
Oh,
Bagpuss is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
He did used to yawn once, but I think the battery's died.
All right, and then at the top right corner there, we've got Kashcah.
Hi, I'm DM. I'm rolling real dice today, so I've just been testing out which ones I want to start with.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping she wouldn't test them first.
Which ones are going to give me the good rolls?
We're all screwed. Anyway, right in the middle over here.
It's the ones that give you the bad rolls.
Right in the middle here, we've got NobiGit.
That's all a matter of
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I'm Nobby. I'm playing Grimm, a shifter, holy monk of sorts, who lately has a tendency to get himself into situations.
That's putting it lightly. Risky situations. Then down at the end there, we have Nightcaste.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, the other Nightcast.
Oh, okay, well, you can go first.
All right, he's done. This Nightcast.
Yeah, I'm Nightcast. I'm playing Malvola. He's a Dragonborn warlock. Kind of hoping that we don't end up making a deal that gets us just as screwed as the person that we're trying to get out of a deal that got them screwed.
The power is yours.
Is it?
Life's full of choices.
It is.
Well, I mean, we could just have Thorn stab somebody.
And then myself, I'm Vallen. I'm playing as a half-orc wild magic sorcerer with a familiar by the name of Una that is actually an imp, unexpectedly. And
That's what happens when you find familiar in hell.
Well, I'm sorry, I've never summoned a familiar in hell before. I didn't know that would be the outcome. It's not in the standard spell description. All right, so
larva.
Yeah, could have been all sorts of different things. Let's do the recap of last episode 34, Red Ruth Inn. We entered the hellish forest maze and were quickly making reverse progress. After backtracking a few times, Grimm found a staff tangled in a thorny thicket. His urge to have it caused him to toss caution to the wind and retrieve it. He was quickly entangled by the thorns and was slowly being ripped apart. Notice I say it with happiness. After a team effort and a determined Grimm, they were able to free him and the staff from the shrubbery, though he was very worse for wear from the experience. Moving on, the Mist Wolves found several ghosts of dryads that were bound to this place. The party was peaceful for a change and experienced some brief glimpse of happiness by entertaining the dryad spirits with tales and experiences of life outside of hell, including a rare surprise song from, you guessed it, Thorn. The Dryads were so happy that they helped us find Red Ruth at our request, though with some hesitation, as they did not care for her. Just before finding Red Ruth, the party came across one last encounter in the maze, that of several shambling mounds within trash piles. As they were trapped, the party removed the threat and moved on to Red Ruth.
Removed the threat.
Yes.
AKA murdered them in cold blood.
No, we washed them away.
No arguing with that. As they were trapped, the party removed the threat and moved on to Red Ruth's abode at the center of the maze. She offered a few options for us all to get what we want, and we ended up choosing to get her an appointment for a bath at a shop in the Wandering Emporium, which is a group of vehicles that travel together across the hellscape, called Infernal Rapture. We then need to watch over Red Ruth's abode until her return, and she would divine us up a solution to Relsala's conundrum with Zariel, and ours with the entity contained at the top of Relsala's tower, as well as perhaps the next steps to finding Zariel's sword. Episode 35 begins, The Wandering Emporium. Kashcah?
I feel like you guys are getting a bargain. Like, all you have to do is make an appointment for a bath, and you're getting, like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, what I imagined last time was a lot worse.
I was anticipating the difficult part to be watching her shop while she's gone. For all we know, she's got some really nasty customers coming that she didn't want to see.
Maybe. So yeah, we left off and you were approaching the Emporium. It has come to a stop. It was this convoy of war machines that you saw previously kind of making its way across the hellscape, and now as you approach it you can see it's stationary, and it also has tents. It's formed like a horseshoe shape. The war machines have kind of formed this horseshoe shape, and in the center of that all these colorful tents have been put up, and as you get closer you can actually probably not while you're in the war machine. No, the war machine's pretty loud. So
I feel like I should ask. I've been hesitant to for a long time since we left the previous war machine behind, which screamed as it functioned. Does this one?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's like a standard feature.
Yeah, okay. It's like, this baby's outfitted with a screamer. Ooh. Taps top of car.
Yeah, that's
machine.
a standard feature of war machines. So yeah, you can keep on driving up if you want.
I don't think we discussed this. Who was actually driving?
You.
I can figure, but I don't want to assume. I would not be like, pedal to the floor approaching. When there they are over there, I'm gonna kind of slow down, just because I would assume that they're equally equipped as far as weaponry, and someone coming in seeming hostile would probably not be met, like super happy.
So how close are you gonna get, I guess? Is my question. Excuse me.
Half a mile, a quarter mile before I drop down, but I would, I'm still gonna drive all the way up to it, but just not full blast.
Okay. You can see that some of the vehicles in this horseshoe shape do seem to be equipped with some of the same kind of features that you have on your vehicle, like there are chompers and wrecking balls, and see something else as well that I don't know that you do have on yours. They look like large, kind of slightly weird looking guns.
We've got harpoon guns.
Yeah, these look a little different than the harpoon guns. They have like this kind of waffled end to them, and they look like they're covered in soot. The end of them is covered in soot.
Okay, for a minute I thought that they shot out bees.
Oh.
Like wasp launcher or something.
Yeah, so there's and there's something else. There's a different kind of it looks more like a harpoon gun, but it definitely doesn't have a slot for a projectile. So there's like a couple of different kinds of weapons mounted on these things in addition to the chompers and the wrecking balls.
Okay.
So yeah, you can kind of, just cruise on up. Drop it down to a lower gear.
Yeah, pumping the hydraulics on it. Car's kind
Jesus.
Still spinning.
Are you going to park like right next to it, or are you putting a little distance between it and your vehicle, or what's the plan?
I'm not gonna drive like right into their camp, but this is hard to describe. Kind of not the far end of the mall parking lot, but kind of in the middle.
Okay.
A couple hundred feet, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Palkas is all like, "There's a parking spot. There's a parking spot. There's a parking spot.
Just
Would
one.
you just park it, Granny? Come on."
As you turn off, well, are you turning off the war machine, or are you going to let it idle?
I'm hesitant to leave it running simply because anyone who knows how could just jump in and take off.
Okay. So as you turn off your vehicle then, and the hum of it dies down and the screams stop, wailing, you can start to hear, as that noise ebbs away, kind of singing its way towards you is a delicate kind of melody, lilting music coming from the tent direction. It's kind of soft. Yeah, sounds nice. And then and then those of you who are sitting on exterior seats, operating various mechanics of it, can also smell food. That smells like real food. That smells like steaks on a barbecue. Like, oh my god, that smells so good.
Just don't ask what it is.
It smells incredibly good, like enticing. Good stuff. And that smell is kind of wafting towards you on like a warm kind of breeze across the front of the tents. So there you go.
So, other than like making an appointment for Red Ruth, is there anything else that we're specifically looking for as far as like shopping? Because this is probably it as far as options go.
Well, if they sell a Zariel's sword, then we could probably use one of those. Maybe another coin.
Maybe they've got knockoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like
those cheap plastic toys.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, this is like, I went to Avernus and all I got was this crappy plastic sword.
They've got Go Zariel's t-shirts.
It's like when you go to Paris, they've just got, shitty Arc de Triomphe or Eiffel Towers everywhere. It's the same thing, but with Zariel's sword.
Well, I'm imagining like a cheap plastic sword in the rock kind of a deal.
Exactly.
And if you pull it out, it makes a ching!
Scale model wasp nest.
magically stays afloat.
Potted plant with little guy stuck on it.
Like, it's a cacti, but alright, sorry.
A map of the forest.
Oh, it's one of those puzzles, you know, where you have to like roll the marble around. Like... Oh, sorry. Anyway,
We're creating the merch already.
Yeah.
Look at it cross-eyed, it makes sense.
Alright, so what you guys doing?
Anybody see any signs that say Infernal Rapture? Are there any signs?
Are you... I mean...
Still in the car.
That would probably be the first step, is to disembark the vehicle.
Maybe get out. Maybe try.
Nah,
okay.
that sounds like it'd be too easy.
Nightcaste is literally the only one with any money amongst us here.
I'm having some difficulty hearing you, Tim.
Oh, sorry. Nightcaste is the only one with any money here.
Well, I don't know what they deal in.
Maybe they accept gold. Who knows?
Holophants, you know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Lulu.
Fatty beards.
Ooh. Maybe you should stay here and lay low.
She says to you, Palkas, no. Says, this looks like it's fun. The first fun thing. You've dragged me into all these dangerous places, and now a fun thing happens, and I have to stay in the car? No.
Wait, we drag her?
Technically, the wasps dragged her into dangerous places.
Did I just hear in my head you tell me, a celestial, that you found something of interest that is going to be fun in this Wandering Emporium?
She says, what are you trying to say about celestials?
I would assume you'd find most, if not all, things in hell repulsive.
She says, there are still pockets of good things here. This might be one of them. Let's check it out.
Okay, we'll still try and lay low, please. Please. But I don't want them to actually start trying to trade for you or eat you. I smell what smells like cooking things already, and I'm sure that that's not pleasant. Whatever they're cooking.
It's a wasp on a stick.
It's a wasp on a stick.
Like deep fried wasp?
Candied. Lulu says, I'll stay at the back, but I'm coming with you.
Fair enough.
I could leave Una here, or I could stay here if you want. Keep an eye on things. I could just watch through Una's eyes. Are you worried about the place getting the stuff getting stolen? I mean, we are in hell. I would imagine everything would be in danger of being stolen.
Who knows? By the same token, we might need you.
Well, I could send Una with you. And
Yeah, we
then
might
I would
need
know.
you that moment.
How far away is the Wandering Emporium?
You're mid mall parking lot.
I don't know.
You're
Been that
trying to say
long,
you've never been to a mall.
How many dwarfs is it?
Yes, this is what I'm looking to find out.
How many dwarves?
That reminds me, we should see if they sell any mayonnaise.
Maybe like 20 to 30
Good
dwarves away.
advice.
How many?
20 to 30 dwarves away.
So like
I guess that depends on how they're aligned. Because if they're like laying down head to foot, that's different than if they're like shoulder to shoulder, you know?
They're all holding hands and standing like this.
That's about the same as if they were laying on their backs, heads up.
Indeed.
Yeah. See,
See?
I guess it really doesn't matter then.
Are we talking like Neely and Feely height, or are
Oh
we
my
talking
God.
like Thorn Oakenshield?
You are far enough away that you could not hold a conversation with somebody in the Emporium, nor they with you, but you can hear music and smell food.
Is it more than 100 feet away?
No, I don't think so.
Then I can cast spells through my familiar,
Okay.
as long as they're
But
touch
your
spells.
hammer, maybe your hammer will be needed.
I don't know. I'll go, and we could leave Una here. Una, watch things, and if anything goes wrong, just let me know immediately, please. Thank you. I can't
Out of
see you,
game.
Una.
Out
Una,
of game
Una.
question.
Ow! Hi, Una. Thank you, Una.
Out of game question, you say you can cast spells using her.
Mhm.
Does that mean when you wild search, the she can explode? For example, like, does a wild search happen too then, or how does that work?
That is entirely up to Kashcah.
We'll see.
And I can only
Okay.
cast touch range spells
Mm.
through her, which there's only one of them that I know, and that is Dragon's Breath.
So the answer is yes.
I mean, it's feasible, but I don't know if Kashka's going to rule that way or not. We have yet to find out.
We'll see. I mean, I hope we won't see, but
See Una implode. Dragon's Breath gone wrong. Okay. So Una's just going to sit on top of the infernal vehicle and be invisible and watch very intently for anybody or anything approaching the vehicle.
Okay. Got
She's been demoted to car alarm.
it. Right.
It was either that or I learned the alarm spell, so she's
Alarm.
she's doing fine.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Una's car alarm. Got it.
Un alarm. Let's go.
I'd say let's head in.
Okay.
Good idea.
So as you approach, you can begin to see some more details of this location, and you see that the in between the infernal war machines, as they make up this horseshoe, they've filled the gaps in between the war machines with these curtains made of small rectangular iron plates, and lamps dangling from chains are strung between them. So they've got this kind of like, it's protecting the place from the wind, it looks like, but they do have this kind of lighting going on as well. And you also see a sign at kind of the entrance of the horseshoe, so like the entrance, and it says, "All are welcome here. No fighting, no spell casting, no exceptions." And it says this in multiple different languages.
Palkas says, "See, you don't need me after all."
So there is, do I have a handout for this person? There is a man standing at the entrance. And
A human man?
hang on, I'm just gonna, do I have a handout?
burning man.
Oh, I don't think I have a handout for him. Yeah, he looks human. He's quite well dressed, and yeah, he's standing kind of close to the entrance. He has kind of this black and like kind of salt and pepper goatee that kind of is quite well groomed and comes to a point. He does have his ears pierced and has what looks like fine gold earrings in them, and he's wearing clothes that look like they're made of kind of luxurious fabric. He has this kind of like wrap going on,
Hi.
Hello.
He says, as you approach, he says, first in Infernal, he says, welcome, because, like, everybody speaks Infernal pretty much, right? Is there anybody in the group that doesn't speak?
I do.
Give me
I don't know if
There's
anyone
only-
else does.
There's only one that does that I
Yeah,
know of.
I do.
What's infernal? Can I
It-
eat it?
Yeah, I think it's only Malvola that knows Infernal.
No, I think
I think.
I
Malvola,
do.
Grimm, and Thorn
Oh,
all know
shoot.
Infernal.
I take all that back.
So I think it's just them, Palkas
In the
and
minority.
Coyra.
We're
Palkas.
educated.
Okay, so he says, welcome, welcome, guests. Please, how can I assist you? He's saying this in Infernal.
Coyra just smiles.
Hello, we're looking for the baths.
He says,
We're looking for infernal rapture.
oh, I'm very pleased to direct you to this tent here, and he kind of gestures towards this particular tent, and it's got kind of this grandiose entrance with these curtains that are like drawn to the side with heavy gold ropes like holding them back, and like a nice carpet is kind of like rolled to just outside this entrance. And he says, oh, this is my establishment. He says, I am so pleased that you have sought us out. He says, is it baths for everyone? He says, you do look like you've been on the road for a while. Perhaps you would all like to take a bath, and we could also offer you some food if you would care for such refreshment.
Coyra is just awkwardly smiling.
Thorn will translate all of this for everyone.
Oh, he says, oh, my apologies. He says, starts speaking in common. I did not realize. He says, please accept my apologies. He
Coyra
says,
still keeps awkwardly smiling.
And Palkas is realizing, dang it, Una knows this language even.
so he kind of says to Coyra, because he's not yet aware that Palkas does not speak Infernal. He says, would you like a bath, perhaps?
No, I'm fine. It's my
I mean,
natural
we are
look.
kind of covered in wasp guts still,
True,
and
true.
slime.
Right.
Bath might be nice, and obviously, as always, everything depends on the price.
Yeah, of course. I agree with
He
Stan.
says, yes, a very discerning customer, of course. He says, and he's kind of like gesturing and walking slowly towards the tent that he kind of pointed towards previously. And he's like, right this way, and we can make the arrangements. He says, yes, please, have a seat here in the lobby. And he kind of gestures to inside the tent. He's kind of holding one of the curtains back a little bit. And you can see there are these like plush kind of cushioned chairs that are kind of, positioned quite nicely with tables and plants. And all looks, very lovely. And it's like in these rich kind of colors. And he says, yes, well, we can make the appropriate arrangements. He says, if you let me know what you're interested in, I can certainly provide you with a price list, and the appropriate arrangements can be made.
Plants you say, does Coyra recognize any of the plants, as in, are they non-hellish?
So they don't look like they belong in hell. But they probably well, make I gotta look.
Nature?
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. You don't recognize any of them, but they don't look like they belong in Avernus.
First thing Coyra asks, how are the plants surviving here?
He says, oh, well, I do have plenty of help to take good care of them, and they do survive much better inside my establishment than out here in the heat.
Cool. It's nice to see some normal living things here. Coyra is referring to the plants.
What did he need? What did he need
I
from
will
us?
head inside and
Yeah.
find the comfy chair.
So yes.
Yeah, so in this kind of, it's like almost like a lobby area, right? And you can see that, like, so there's these big grandiose kind of curtains that lead into the interior of this tent with these comfy chairs. And then beyond that is like another kind of curtain doorway that looks like it leads kind of further into his establishment. And yes, he's gesturing for you to sit here while you decide kind of what you want, and he says, I can offer you a price list if you're interested in perusing the menu. He says I can do special orders, although it may take some time to procure the ingredients depending on what you're interested in.
A price list would be good. We're also looking to make an appointment for someone that's not with us.
He says, oh, okay, that's quite unusual. But we can cater to any need. He says, well, as far as prices, I can offer you food and a bath for 1 coin each. He says this is, of course, a full meal, and the spa services are complimentary, with your meal. He says, these include a basic variety of spa services, but we can add further to your care if you should desire.
Coyra just goes, 1 gold coin each? That's a steal.
Oh, he says, that's not the coin I was referring to. He says, are you new to Avernus, perhaps?
Palkas says, no, we've been here for some time. We're just new to the Emporium.
He says, are you... well, you must be familiar with soul coins. He says, I did see you arrive in a war machine, so...
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He says, so, shall I bring out the appropriate paperwork then for meals and baths?
Palkas shakes his head no and says, I think instead we'll just make the appointment.
Oh.
Unless Lulu, he looks up at Lulu.
Lulu, okay, so Lulu is like, kind of, it's almost like she's kind of fluttering, like she's like scratching her head, like she's trying to remember something, like it's just on the tip of her tongue. And when you gesture to Lulu, this gentleman kind of turns. Oh, Lulu. He says,
Lulu.
He says,
you know Lulu.
I have not seen you in a very long time, Lulu.
You know him? What's your name?
You ask him what his name is?
Yeah.
He puts his hand out and to shake yours, and he says, Mahadi, at your service. And the whole time he's shaking your hand, he's like staring at Lulu, and he's like, Mahadi.
Palkas just kind of like grabs a couple fingers and
he kind of like frowns a little bit at that, and
because he's looking at the guy, and and the guy's looking at Lulu, so Palkas is kind of like not really paying attention, so he just grabs something, and it happens to be the guy's fingers,
Why do I feel like this is a perfect time to sneeze?
Oh shoot!
oh,
Oh jeez! All right. Nope. Close. Not quite.
I mean, that's a pretty. With your +6, you have to roll a 4
Yep.
or less.
Yep.
That would be
Can
really
we
stick
also
around
give
for a long time.
disadvantage to
Oh!
like negative inspiration is
So yeah, he's just kind of staring at Lulu a little bit like.
How do you know Lulu?
He says, well, he says, surely you remember Lulu. He's kind of looking at her. He says, Lulu, took shelter here. Lulu, you don't remember us sheltering you after you became lost?
Yes, Lulu. Do you remember taking shelter here after you became lost?
Lulu is like shaking her head. He says,
Coyra just starts to look at Palkas like, what the heck are you doing? Why do you keep repeating it?
Because she doesn't talk to everybody all at the same time, so I'm just kind of making sure that it's the translation of... Anyway, Lulu, do you remember Mahadi at all?
she is shaking her head. Like she's like fluttering.
So, Mahadi, well, why don't you fill in a few more details? She's been a bit fuzzy with some recollections of her time in hell previously.
He kind of raises his eyebrows. Oh, he says, well, we found Lulu wandering. She became lost in Avernus, and so we took her in and we gave her food and comfort and she stayed here until she was healthy again.
Did she pay you in soul coins?
He says, no, it was in dire need, so of course we assisted.
Why would you just assist someone like that? You're in hell. It seems like an uncommon thing, if not rare.
He says, would you not have assisted her?
I'm not saying I wouldn't have.
Oh.
Wait, I don't know if that came out right. You know what I meant to say.
He says, well, I assisted her. I'm sorry if that's...
Not
He says,
everyone
you
in
are
hell.
new to Avernus, aren't you?
Define new.
He says, well, clearly I've never seen you before and we have never met. And
Then by those standards, you are correct.
he says, everybody knows the Wandering Emporium.
Well, I mean, we know of it,
No.
but I've never met you, so therefore I'm new.
He says, I'm so glad to see you again, Lulu. It's fantastic to see that you are alive and well and in such good company.
Palkas looks up at Lulu and says, please say something.
Lulu says to you telepathically, I don't remember this man.
Okay.
She says, I kind of... She says,
to be fair, she doesn't remember anything, does she?
this place is vaguely familiar. The tents and the music is... I somewhat remember it, but I don't remember this man.
What kind of baths do you offer? Where we're originally from, they consist of things like water, soap. Generally, the water is sometimes heated. Are there any differences here?
He says, well, of course this is not your everyday kind of bath. He says, this is a spa service.
Bubbles. They add bubbles.
He
Coyra
says-
has bubbles.
He says it includes...
Pipe.
He says it includes body and foot and hand treatments. We can also give massage therapy and skin care. He's looking at you more closely now, Palkas, when he says this. He says, and of course some general grooming, and he's looking at your hair like... He says you sound like you have a renewed interest, perhaps.
No. Do you happen to sell soul coins?
He says, no, I do not, but, he says, there is part of this entourage, one of the tents just over there, does do exchange of soul coins for, well, I believe you need to speak with them about what they will accept.
Well, okay. And he looks at everybody else and he's like, shall we just make the appointment then?
We should do that first, yes.
Yeah.
That's why we came here.
Red Ruth would like a bath.
Oh, Red Ruth! Oh, you should have said so sooner. It's been so long since we've seen her. I'm sure she is well overdue for her bath.
She looks
Indeed.
I'm sure she looks just like she had recently had one, but she felt the need arisen, came about.
He says, and he says, so the fee to hold the appointment for her?
She mentioned no fee. She said only to make the appointment and that she would handle the rest.
He says, well, I can't just hold appointments without some kind of deposit.
A deposit. So then we get that back.
I mean, it would be, it would go towards the price of her bath, whatever services she desires. Deposit would be removed, would be subtracted from her total for those services.
We're going to end up spending more in soul coins going this route than we would have just paying up front.
He says the deposit is only a single soul coin.
It took us that to get here. Palkas looks very disappointed, but also resigned.
We should have just paid the 3, it would be cheaper.
It would be a loss if we went back and did that now.
Well, it is hell.
I will dig around in my pouch and, present him with 1 coin.
Okay. He will take it and say, he kind of does a little like head nod, kind of a little bow almost, and says to you, and when could I expect her? When should I make the appointment for?
As early as possible.
He
Yes.
says, oh, so today or tomorrow?
How
or...
long did it take us to get here? Was it like hours or days or?
I don't remember what I said. I think you just traveled for a few hours.
To drive. I remember. So probably later today.
She's just an hour away.
He says, oh, how convenient. He says, then I will mark her in for, shall I say 4 hours from now?
Let's make it 6 just to be safe.
Okay, so you see him kind of scribbling away in a book. Then he, snaps the book shut and puts it in his pocket and takes the soul coin, and puts that in a pouch.
Thank you.
Grimm, I would like you to make a roll for your feature, please.
He also had rolled an insight check earlier, just so that you know.
Yeah, I did see the insight.
But with that roll, I was like, yeah, I probably believe everything he's saying.
Okay. All right. All right. So, yeah, he says then, I look forward to seeing her later today.
Okay.
We'll be back if our financial circumstances back up a little.
Excuse me.
He says, "Oh, I look forward to it because I'm sure with a group like yours, fortune is coming your way."
Thanks.
That has been the opposite of our experience so far.
I mean,
No,
we
Fortune is the
didn't
name of the
die.
Yuvala that's hunting us.
Right, this is what I was wondering. I'm like, is Fortune the name of some evil deity we've upset? Thanks, let's go. Alright, are we visiting any other locations here?
Do we want to check out the place that barters for coins?
Sure. Be good to have
Hey,
some
so-
more.
Since we're here, we might as well see what the possibilities are, what kind of things they accept.
Okay.
Maybe they take Hollyfont.
I'm amazed that Lulu didn't trumpet you
Yeah,
yet.
she kind of like trumpets a little in disgust.
Palkas
But
says, I was just
not
joking. Lulu."
Oh,
not a harmful.
Coyra just says to Lulu, I wouldn't blame you.
We can see what we can get for a slightly used half-orc sorcerer.
I see you got a new stick.
Slightly used,
Walking around with that dead wood staff.
also slightly explosive.
Did we stash some bits of dead angel into the bag of holding from inside the wasp nest?
Asking the DM if you
No.
did something is not a good idea.
I'm asking Malvola if we did.
Oh, okay.
I feel like if we did, we should not offer that, as I feel like we kind of want to be still, welcome at this place.
It's hell, maybe angel parts and big money here.
Or throw
You'd be
one way
very
ticket
happy.
out of here.
I mean, you never know.
You ever had Astral Deva kebabs?
Maybe.
That might be what we're
Definitely.
being cooked.
I'm
No.
not supposed to answer that question.
So looking around the rest of the tents, there are various placards outside of them. There are a few of them. One says Fire Snake Forge. Another one says Bernie the Barber. Another one says From Here to Avernus.
Barber or Barbar?
Barber.
As in
Like
hair
haircut.
cutting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
So From Here to Avernus. One says Ickers Away. Another one says Zneth's Lava Farm. Larva Farm.
Larva.
Not lava. Not like he's farming lava, but he's
None of
farming
them have-
larva.
None
As-
of them just say souvenirs.
There's some really squeaky turn.
Yeah, like chocolate such, like,
with some fridge magnets
Where
on.
do we pick up the swag?
yeah.
Some terrible plastic suitcases with horrible pictures. Anyway, so yeah, those are your options. We've got Fire Snake Forge, Bernie the Barber, From Here to Avernus, Ickers Away, and Zneth's Larva Farm.
Start at one side and work our way around. We have only so much time to do this.
Which seems most likely to be the place that might sell us some soul coins for something else.
I would say From Here to Avernus.
Yeah,
It sounds
could
like
be some
a
stuff there.
non-Avernus place.
I was thinking the Forge, they make things, right?
That's also possible.
Which one's closest?
Hey.
You've got closest actually is Fire Snake Forge. That's the one right next door.
To the Forge.
Okay. Let's check out the forge. We'll go to From Here to Avernus.
Okay. So, the Forge. Ooh, this is a cool handout.
Oh boy.
The Forge looks like it is being run by 3 of these creatures. And they are their tent is set up in front of this war machine, that looks like it's kind of cobbled together from half a dozen other different war machines. And they're currently like working on some what look like war machine parts. Like one of them's got like a big hefty wire brush and he's like scrubbing this big kind of cog looking thing. Another one is like hammering a chunk, and the third one is operating some tool that you haven't seen before.
Okay. Hello, what do you sell?
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
And now they get startled and throw one of their hammocks and such.
So you say that to them in common?
I don't think they'd understand half orc. Or
Okay.
orc.
They look at you and they don't understand, actually.
He just kind of shrugs.
You do see as well that there are a few of... Hang on. These little guys running around as well, helping them out.
Oh, baby zombies.
So, I can adopt a red cap. Can I adopt one of these?
No.
That was quick. He saw that one coming a mile away.
When I see that the salamander doesn't like, I have a feeling he kind of.
He kind of like gives Palkas a bit of side eye, actually, like, psh, and just goes back to what he was doing.
I will basically repeat the question in Infernal. What kind of goods do you guys deal in?
So he stops, the guy that was hammering, puts his hammer down, turns to you all, and says something in a language that none of you understand. And kind of stands there, waits a little bit, like shrugs, and says something else that you don't understand, and then picks up his hammer and starts wailing away.
That just goes back to our awkward smile. It's her default response to things that she doesn't get. It's like,
Can you turn into fire elementals yet, Coyra?
sorry, what?
Can you turn into a fire elemental yet?
Give me one moment to figure that out. I don't think I can. It's not on the list that I was given, so I'm gonna assume not.
There's a level at which it happens, but I don't remember what it is.
I think it's significantly higher than 8th.
Don't cast any spells.
It doesn't show anywhere on the list that I was once given, so I don't know how accurate this list then is.
Fire? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think that was just the beast list. The list of
Palkas says,
beasts.
we can ask one of the other vendors, perhaps. They might know. Let's go from here to Avernus.
We were already in Avernus.
That shop there.
Okay.
Does kind of make me wonder about the name.
Coyra can also make bad jokes.
So as you kind of step over, so you guys are moving on, right? Stepping over from here to Avernus?
Yep.
Okay. So as you step over there, you see that there's a single kind of fiend in the shop, and he looks like this.
Oh boy.
And he has there's a few kind of perches set up within his tent, and there are a number of imps that are sitting on these perches, and some of them are like squabbling with each other, and they're like clawing at each other, and he just seems to be completely like, it's white noise to him, like he doesn't even hear this. And some of these imps are like just really getting quite animated, and and he says to you in in Infernal, he says, "Welcome. How can I help you?"
Good, what time of day is it? It's not quite. Good early afternoon, I think. Or something. Good whenever it is.
Coyra looks in her bag. Not yet.
Do you trade for soul coins in here?
He says, yes, I do. Yes. I can certainly help you in that regard. How many were you looking for?
Well, it might be more a case of how many we can get for various things we have.
Yeah, it's more along the. I think the question, at least from our perspective, is what will you accept in exchange for them?
He says, well, usually I do take gold coins or gemstones, perhaps.
What's the going rate?
He says, well, if we're talking about gold coins, I prefer 125 per soul coin.
You're gonna hate me.
He says, the same value in gemstones if you have that kind of currency.
Palkas takes his pack down, sets it down, and he starts rummaging through it, seeing what he can come up with.
Obviously, I'll translate back and forth to common.
Oh, he's speaking in Infernal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my apologies. Okay.
Oh, as soon as you
Actually,
start...
rather than have Thorn do it, I could just stand beside Palkas and
What about Coyra?
translate for him. Okay, stand between you.
Well, when he hears somebody start translating, he will just switch to common.
That's handy.
Okay. Palkas says, how many could we get for this? And I realize that this might take more time than what we would have, but he pulls out Duke Van Thamper's jewelry from way back at the beginning that he's still been sitting on.
Oh yeah.
Why would you do that to me?
I do seem to remember something about like 5 chests full of nickels.
God damn it.
Kashcah, you sound so happy.
Just into larger coin.
Did I
We changed the loose coin into larger coin.
Yeah,
But Palkas
we
kept
kept the
jewelry
gems.
just in his sack.
The jewelry.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing got done with that.
So there was the jewelry. He also has 50 platinum on him right now. Which, for those that don't know, that's 500 gold.
Oh, so this is... Do you have any specifics on what the jewelry is?
It is only listed to me as Duke Van Thamper jewelry.
Okay.
There were specific items that we have since gotten rid of.
Okay. I think I have it. So he takes a look at this, because I think it's a necklace.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And he takes a look at this. Oh, there was also a cameo?
Yes, it was cameo.
I think we sold the cameo separate.
Okay, all right. So he takes a look at the necklace then and says, he kind of like studies it very closely, for a moment. He's kind of going along the links. He checks everything, like checks the jewel, and says, I would give you 2 for this.
Okay, deal.
And
That sounds good looking out, Palkas.
and he will, kind of squirrels away the necklace and produces 2 soul coins for you.
Which Palkas then just immediately gives them to Malvola.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I will. Nope.
I have a little bit of Baldur's Gate flash as well.
Oh.
I have that fancy crown of Tiamat,
Oh, jeez.
Oh God!
but we couldn't shift in Baldur's Gate. Everyone was like, "Oh no, that's too evil." But this is about as evil as it gets, so it's probably worth a shot. So, does he have any interest in a really fancy crown of Tiamat?
I feel like Kashka is regretting giving us those things.
I mean,
First
I would
opportunity we've
I'm
had
just
for
gonna
any
blow it
kind of
on some-
commerce. It's not like we haven't earned it at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to blow it on some roast halfling anyway.
My favorite. Did I give? Do you have like a room number perhaps written next to that crown? Really helping.
That was in
Great.
one of the chests that the shield was in, and the
Oh, so that was in the vault?
Okay.
flavor
All right.
gravy. What was the name?
Thavius
the Creek.
Cree.
Yeah. Which actually, this guy reminds me of Thavius Cree.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, it reminds me of someone else.
yeah, he looks like Jabba too, but I think that's back when Shadow was playing the Creek stuff.
Oh,
Of course,
hang
by
on.
the same
Almost
token,
there.
I've got that dagger, Fang.
Suddenly we're all just like, what kind of junk have we been sitting on for a long time?
It's like
Oh.
Minecraft, you have to sort out your inventory every so often.
Really quick, you guys remember back in the sewers when I found the keyring?
Jeez.
I
This-
still have it, just saying.
This villager's only trading for bread.
So when
No,
he's
just saying, maybe in the
Sorry.
future it
That
will
guy
be
gets
useful.
pushed in the smeltery.
Go ahead, Kashka.
that's all right.
Of course, I'm not offering up the dagger. I have a feeling it might be important later.
So when he sees the crown, he says,
About everything.
you see him raise his eyebrows. He says, I would be careful who you show this item to. He says, Tiamat is a touchy subject. He says, so I'm afraid for this, I could only offer you one.
Fine. I have no use for it.
He says, I will have
Just
to
take the
melt this
space in my
down.
backpack.
He says,
I understand.
I don't suppose he wants a bearded devil scrunchie.
Bearded devil scrunchie. Oh, forgot you
He
had
says,
that.
I'm not. This is not a flea market.
How about some charred minotaur bones?
He says, perhaps you should go elsewhere.
Palkas says, do you happen to know what the Forge group over here is selling? They don't seem to speak any language that we're familiar with.
He says, well, typically they trade in weapons and armor, and they also repair war machines. They keep Mahadi's war machines in good working order for him.
Do they accept payment in gold as well, or do they only take soul coins?
He says, no, they will accept gold.
Okay.
I would like to buy a second soul coin from you with gold, in addition to the crown trade.
Oh, he says, yes, you're most welcome. And he'll trade you 125 gold coins for a soul coin.
Does that seem to be his soul item that he sells?
No, you can, well, for those of you who understand Infernal, you can read, he's got kind of a etched basalt like tablet hanging from these kind of iron chains in his tent, and it says like imp courier service, and then it's got some price lists for whatever they're taking, and how far they're going and whatnot.
Oh, that makes sense. Here to Avernus. I like.
Palkas kind of whispers to Malvola. I'm just going to do a stage whisper for this, but he just whispers just so that the two of them can hear. How many coins do you have? Not counting the one that Thorn is purchasing now.
I have half a dozen or so.
I could.
I still have a feeling that that's not something that you go wandering around talking about, just in case.
I could obtain more.
I could. I have quite a bit of money because we have not had an opportunity to spend it on anything. I mean, this is the first time we've even like found people to try and do commerce with other than Mad Maggie.
Excuse me.
So, yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that as long as we can get back here, we could be fine as far as soul coins. I'm a little hesitant to be driving around with, dozens of them on our persons, because that seems like that would make us targets.
Okay. I think us getting 3 more is good for today.
Yeah, that would probably be.
I'm planning to use my acquisitions for bathing.
Then.
And I thought I might give my second bathing and food slot to Coyra.
Do you know how long it takes them to do that?
Nope.
Fair enough.
Keep in mind, we've still got to go back, let Red Rose know about her appointment, and wait for her to come here and get back.
Yep.
We can maybe go and get a bath done afterwards. Doesn't necessarily have to be before, but
I was actually kind of thinking that if you're planning on partaking of their services here, you could escort Red Ruth back here and then do yours and hers at the same time, not necessarily in the same room.
Regular eyebrows.
Same room.
And then escort her back.
Yes, that would work too. I'm happy to be guided by the party's sense of what seems fit.
I'm just throwing it out there. You're the one who's feeling stanky, so that's up to you.
I mean,
Palkas says, I don't smell anything but ash and that food.
Yeah, you smell some delicious food.
That food is another part of the temptation.
It smells like bread, and it's just come out the oven, and
freshly baked chocolate chip cookies.
Sure, that's chocolate.
That's from Mahadi's tent, right? The food. Is that right, Kashcah?
What was that? Sorry.
The food smells from Mahadi's tent.
Yes.
I mean, the last thing I ate was bits of curried redcap, and I felt dreadful for days.
All right. Well,
that's true.
It would be a pleasant change to do something that didn't try to kill me.
Since the guy said that the Forge people also sell weapons and stuff and accept gold, Coyra kinda wants to go back there and see if she can find a scimitar, and if so, if she can somehow purchase it.
Okay.
Are you saying this out loud, or are you just doing this?
Yes, she says it out loud.
Palkas says, well, I could speak in sign language, and he kind of like makes a, he doesn't actually cast anything, but he says, I could speak in sign language, and then he goes, oh, but I can't cast spells here. So, yeah, I guess maybe you could draw a picture on the ground, and that might work.
If Lulu's telepathy...
Did they have like a display of their wares?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe they have a display and we can just point at what we need.
That might work too.
Somehow
So
I
yeah,
think that guys understand more than they're letting on.
Coyra is basically suggesting that we go back to the forge, at least. Maybe
Okay.
we find something that's useful for any of us.
Palkas just thanks the Amnesu that is there for the services and says, I think we'll be
It's been very helpful.
moving on. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. He kind of nods his head to you deeply, and it goes back to writing in a ledger.
So really quick out of thing question or complaint. Discord is cutting out a lot of stuff that's being said for me. I don't know if anyone else has that issue.
No.
I have had some things being like the middle of a sentence and it just ends.
Oh.
Yeah, for example, when you said the crown was 1 soul coin, I only learned about the 1 soul coin afterwards. Like,
Gotcha.
just random things are getting cut out. It's
Huh.
weird.
Okay.
Thought I
Yeah,
mentioned it
actually,
really quick.
I didn't hear that either. I just heard the word coin at the end, and I figured it must be one of them.
All right. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
okay.
me then.
Coins.
Hang on. Let me adjust my mic closer. Okay. Maybe that's me.
I thought I'd just say it.
Oh, you know what? As well, let me check my settings because maybe.
Is your microphone on?
Yes, you asked me this already.
Okay, I'm just checking.
That would be really awkward.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I haven't done it before where my microphone was up and I was talking to you guys, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we go back to the forge. Are there any displays?
Oh, I wonder if this. Hang on. Oh no, that's okay. That's all right. Sorry. Back to the forge. Are there any displays? So there are not really displays. There are kind of like some rough-looking metal boxes that or crates that have you can see handles of weapons kind of sticking out the top. So there's these like, square crate, all these handles sticking out the top of it.
Reminds me of the Renaissance fair.
Mm-hmm. Is there a pickle vendor here?
Ooh, pickles.
Do we recognize what kind of metals they might be out there? What kind of metals they may be out of? I can't English today, excuse me.
I mean, some of them look kind of standard issue, nothing special. There are some kind of more ornate ones and some that are from a slightly darker looking metal.
Palkas says, I think that they'll understand you if you speak in Infernal, but I don't know that any of us speak their primary language.
Lulu says, maybe I can help. If I can talk to them telepathically, then.
Lulu thinks she might be able to talk to them.
Coyra says, well, I'm mainly trying to find a better scimitar as the one I have doesn't do well in here.
Oh, she says,
I can't recall you ever using it.
She has, a few times.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay. So she kind of pauses and one of the salamanders puts their tool down and turns and like this guy had tongs and he turns and looks at Lulu and kind of like frowns at her at first and then kind of his face kind of softens a little bit and he approaches one of these crates and pulls out a scimitar. But it looks kind of ordinary.
Does it look any better than the scimitar that Coyra has already?
Not really.
Coyra just shrugs like, don't think this is much better than the one that I have at the moment.
Do they seem to have any silvered weapons?
Lulu says, I can ask. And she looks at the salamander again. He like shoves the scimitar back in this crate and kind of stands there staring at Lulu for a moment while she speaks with him and then shakes his head.
Do they buy silvered weapons?
Yeah, same deal again, and he kind of shakes his head again.
Okay.
Coyra asks Lulu one more time. Just once more. Like, do they have any other scimitars than just the one?
After a moment's pause where she's communicating with the salamander, he comes over and he starts like pulling out scimitars, like, and he's got like 3 or 4 of them.
If any of them look better than what Coyra currently has, she will try to purchase it.
Palkas
If
says,
she can.
you should ask if any of them have been magically enhanced.
Sorry, what? Last word got
If
cut
any
out.
of them were magically enhanced.
You telling Lulu that or me?
Telling you that.
Well, Coyra relays the info. Lulu!
Lulu asks.
Turn it into a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lulu asks the guy, like, there's this kind of moment pause again while communication goes on, and then he starts, like, just, like, he's talking really fast, in quite an animated fashion, and he's like, he's like throwing his hands up, like, and
How the heck?
and then he just puts the scimitars back in the crate, and Lulu says to you, Coyra, he doesn't have any magic weapons.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go. Next
Was
shop.
nice trying though.
What were the other shops again, Kashcah?
So that was the Fire Snake Forge. There is also Bernie the Barber.
Do we have... Sorry. You go first.
Iker's Away and Zneth's Lava Farm. Here, let me put this particular one I'll put in chat because...
Do we have
Stickers
any
away.
idea?
Oh,
Do
go
we
ahead.
have any
Sorry.
idea how long we've been here already? As we have like a 6-hour time
I
limit.
had it right. Oh, almost.
Yeah, you haven't been here that long. Maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes, something
Okay.
like that. Half an hour, I think.
Time
seems
is
pretty
hard to
reasonable.
tell in Hell, of course.
Does Bernie the Barber look like it's actually just a barber?
Yeah, if you kind of I take it you've exited.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, while you're kind of looking around, right, you can see Bernie the Barber does have like this kind of fancy looking chair, and table set up with all these kind of like like scissors and like shaving equipment, and yeah, it definitely looks like a barber in a tent.
What about
Coyra
Icarus Away?
whispers
Oh.
to Palkas. Maybe you can get a beard done.
I think he's trying to grow it out.
Oh, okay.
And and as you guys are standing there, what is this that you're showing me?
That was my roll, my Constitution save.
Oh.
As you lean over and say that, he sneezes right in your face.
Perfect timing.
You now have COVID-19. No, it was
I don't know.
feathers everywhere.
May I ask, what did you know?
I rolled a 1. So there you go.
Coyra just says, Never mind.
Palkas is now clean shaven. Says, I don't think we need to go to the barber.
Well, instead of being disgusted by it or such, Coyra just laughs it off. She has seen weirder things, weirdly enough.
I was thinking about it. The irony is the two people talking about going to the barber are the only people that have hair on their heads.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Iker's away. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, no, I'm just thinking, where would Coyra have to sit to be 2 meters away from me inside the vehicle?
Hey, I don't do wild magic searches, don't worry.
It's more than 2 meters for me, I'm sorry.
Also, you say we're the only two with hair. If I recall correct, you're looking a little bit fuzzy at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm talking hair in the traditional sense. Because Thorn's bald, Malvola's scaly,
And
I'm
you are furry. Yeah.
and you guys are normal-ish with hair department.
You're just jealous.
So Iker's away.
All right, Iker's away. So as you look over at the tent for Iker's away, you can see that it is set up with these kind of ramshackle bookshelves, and the shelves are lined with flasks, lots of different flasks.
Potion seller?
Potion seller.
Not a gift shop.
And standing inside, kind of messing around with the flasks, like rearranging them or moving them or whatever, is a human. And he is dressed in robes, right? He has this kind of dark hair that's like slicked back. But there's two things that you notice about him. As he's moving the flasks around, you can see that his fingers actually are no longer jointed appendages. They are now tentacles. Maybe they were never jointed appendages.
This is Malvola's shop.
And his ears are missing.
His ears?
Yes.
Another guy who can't understand what we're saying.
What?
Does he have ear holes?
No. Where his ears would have been is just smooth. And you can see because he's got this black hair that's just like slicked back. He's got
Did we
like
enter this shop?
just a sharp part down the side, and it's just whoosh.
Does this guy look like an octopus or something?
He looks like something's going on there.
I'm picturing Octodad right now, you know. So
Nobody suspects a thing.
Is there a sign that lists prices or something like there was in some of the other shops?
Not really, no.
So
Are there tags or placards or anything for the potions on the shelf?
Nope. There's just a variety of flasks.
I'll step forward and say hello in common and see if anything happens.
Okay. He says, "Greetings."
You sell potions, is that correct?
He says, "Well, I'm not sure I would recommend imbibing them, no." He says, and he kind of gestures to the name on the placard. "I sell Ica, or I buy Ica if you have any for sale."
The blood of demons and devils?
The very same.
What's it used for?
yes.
Other than sustenance.
He says, "Well, I'll leave that up to you, what you would like to use yours for. And mine, well, And he kind of like touches his face with his tentacle fingers.
Pasta sauce.
I mean, if you're talking about Thorn, he would use it as pasta sauce.
And you can kind of
Not the
see,
weirdest thing he has eaten.
like, you can kind of see a bit closer now that you've stepped a bit closer to him. Like, his arm is also kind of like has a tentacle kind of texture going on. Like it's like some kind of transition between these tentacle fingers and the rest of his body.
Suddenly I have this strange craving for calamari.
What are the most common uses of ichor?
He kind of like looks at Palkas and then looks at you, Thorn, and says, "As your companion, has he not experienced? Like, are you new to Avernus?"
Oh, God.
He is a little new.
Palkas says, I've never met you, so therefore I'm new to Avernus.
He says, "Well, I wouldn't recommend experimenting with it unless you know what you're doing."
Okay, we should go now.
Very fair of you. I think we can say with a certain degree of certainty, we have no idea what we're doing. Thank you very much for your warning. It's much appreciated. Can't say fairer than that.
Palkas says, is it like a hallucinogen?
Do
Is
you
it
have-
addictive?
Do you have any for sale?
Not today.
Ah,
Anyone else?
well, I do offer a
Killed
good...
an entire hell wasp hive, but we didn't harvest any of their juices, I'm afraid.
Says I do offer I'm not particularly... well, I do offer a good price. Should you return with some... we can exchange money for ichor.
What kind of how would you recommend collecting it?
Very carefully.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, is there certain containers that you would recommend?
He says, well, as you can see, and he kind of gestures to the flasks, a flask typically works quite well, but don't let it come in contact with your skin, unless you know what you're doing.
Do you trade in I can't remember the word. Coins other than soul coins?
Yes.
Gold?
He says, yes,
Gold,
I
is that
typically trade in gold. I'm not especially interested in soul coins.
Oh, it just seems like the coin of the realm here.
He says, those are the merchants. He says, I understand why they want them, but I'm much more interested in ichor.
Of course
Well,
you are.
now that we know that there is value in collecting it, we may end up taking advantage of that. It's one of those, to be blunt, we didn't expect anyone would want it, because, well, so we didn't know that it was something worth collecting.
From the tent next door, you hear this grumpy old voice saying, "Nobody does want it except this weirdo."
But it only takes one.
I would like to buy a dozen flasks, like empty flasks.
Palkas says,
And
how much would you offer for full flasks?
He says,
I
well,
would imagine it depends on what filled it.
he says, we could say perhaps 25 gold per flask.
Okay.
Oh, so you wanted to purchase some empty flasks, though? He
yeah,
says,
and if you have them, some sort of protective gloves,
he says,
covering my butt kind of thing.
He touches his face with his tentacle fingers. No, I don't have those anymore. And asks and says, for the empty flasks, you said a dozen? I would offer those to you for 50 gold.
Total?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds quite reasonable. If we can manage to fill them all, that would definitely be a
He says,
worthwhile
well,
exchange.
they are empty after all.
Palkas says, good luck with that. I'd rather not take that gamble. Hmm.
I wonder if Celestials produce Ica.
I didn't hear you.
I said, I wonder if Celestials produce Ica.
He says,
I'm not
I
thinking of
haven't.
Lulu.
He says, I haven't experimented with that. He says, do let me know your findings, though.
I will.
Right.
I like the cut of your jib, friend.
And the grumpy voice from the tent next door, like, just laughs, just kind of cackles this deep laugh. And yeah.
We should get back to Red Ruth.
Bugs. We probably should.
Yeah.
Thanks,
we want
everyone.
to go and see the grumpy bug farmer first.
Grumpy bug farmer?
The Sneth's larvae thing.
Isn't that where we went to? He had all the imps and we bought coins from him?
No, that was from here to Avernus.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't put that on the list. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely where the grumpy laughter is. And, well, it's not grumpy laughter, but yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the barber that was heckling.
No.
Oh, I mean, whoever it was, he gets extra bonus points.
Yeah.
Alright. Larvae farm. Zneth.
Okay, so Zneth, oh, hang on, do I have a handout for Zneth? And you have to imagine him without the armor or the big ass sword, okay?
Okay.
Use your imagination.
Oh, okay. A hobgoblin.
He's a big old hobgoblin. Yeah.
Hobgoblins are okay.
Yep. So he's a big
Oh,
old
wow.
hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm.
Hobgoblins used to look like pigmen.
And
Too soon.
Time ago.
It's just, that's different.
and he's got his tent has a load of crates and cages filled with these rather large larvae. Like they're like the size of like Grimm.
Wow.
And
Who
they're
is staying on the outer part of the, I mean, like just outside the tent.
No, yeah.
And they're kind of just wiggling around in their like crates and cages, and occasionally they let out these little kind of screeches and yeah.
I feel like Coyra is not allowed here
No Coyra.
from the other sea. Just saying.
Palkas walks in. Says, hello,
So you're allowed to go in. It's not allowed to adopt anything.
do you speak common?
You already know he does because he
Oh, he
shouted out about
then he'll say,
about
what
the weird dude.
what are these larvae of? And what do they typically serve a purpose for?
Axe.
He says I sell them on to other buyers. He says I buy them when they're just tiny and I rear them and then I sell them on. What's it to you?
Are they?
He says that I have to give half my proceeds to Flaffin Mahadi. Guy's a thief.
Are they used for food?
He says I don't ask people what they use them for typically.
What are they
It's
larvae?
not my business.
What are they larvae?
Not really
of?
your business either.
I'd like to know what I'm buying. I mean, you're selling these, right?
You want to buy one?
Maybe. What are they larvae of?
He says, I don't think you want to buy one.
He says, well, not with that kind of attitude, I don't. How can one buy something that's not for sale?
He says, look, I think you're just here wasting my time. You don't even know what these are, so you definitely don't want to buy one.
No, we didn't know what some of the other things were, but we bought those.
He says, why don't you move along, little one?
Little one? How big is this guy?
He's hobgoblin size.
I know. This is why I'm like, I don't think so.
I mean, he's not that much like bigger than you, right?
Oh, he's bigger than me.
Maybe just a little bit, like
Really? I'm
like just a
surprised.
tiny bit.
Okay. I was sure that I would be bigger. Trying to, where is it? There it is. No, I don't have the info there. Dang it. Oh, I'm 6'6". Wow, that is a big hobgoblin. All right. Palkas just turns around and walks out.
Okay.
He just sells worms. We should get back to Red Ruth.
Yeah.
And with that, since nobody else is saying anything, he starts heading towards the vehicle.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So back in the car, and then starting her up and heading across the desert. It does not take another coin to start it.
Oh.
Oh, that's a relief.
Cha-ching!
Let's put some gas in the tank.
Is it good that we run this thing on to empty every time? Can't be good for the engine.
That's best for it.
We haven't had this thing in for a checkup yet.
All right. I'm assuming you just going straight there. Nothing else you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So pulling up outside the. Oh, Palkas, had you marked the entrance?
Yes.
Okay.
He marked the entire forest, didn't he?
You
Yeah,
did
more or
mark
less,
a
yes.
lot of the forest. Okay, so you can pull up, park your vehicle, and you're able to follow Palkas's, earthen signs, fairly swiftly back to Red Ruth's hut.
Yeah, now that we also know which entrance to go into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with the map because.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Ruth, baby. Ruthie, baby.
Are you sure?
Outside the hut.
Are you sure you don't want to take a bath with her?
No, why would I need to take a bath? Everyone keeps telling me I should take a bath. I think that they
That's
just...
only because you're coated head to toe in the guts of demon wasps.
And I don't see a problem with it. Excuse me.
All right. So so you're.
Fussy.
Yeah. Do you want to? What do you want to say? What do you want to do?
We've made your appointment. It's in 3 hours.
Yeah, more.
Or, well, it's in X hours timeline, whatever, from now. Giving an estimation.
Okay.
You shouldn't be late.
She says, well, do you want me to do the divination now or later?
You might as well do it now. Let's find out.
That depends. Will the divination make you late?
She says, Probably not.
Because it cost us a soul coin to hold your appointment.
She looks indifferent to this fact.
Those aren't exactly easy to come by.
She says, you didn't meet the exchange?
The exchange?
Yeah, at the Wandering Emporium? There's...
Yeah, we did. The
Okay.
postal service.
From here to Avernus. The guy with the imps. Oh.
Yeah,
Yep.
we sold some stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
As long as you're not going to be late, we'll take the divination now.
Okay.
Please and thank you.
So she kind of like, kind of grumbles a bit and starts gathering materials from around her hut, and it's taking her forever, and she's kind of getting, you're getting kind of perhaps a bit impatient with her, and she's just kind of grumbling as she's walking around, and then she seems to have gathered everything she needs, so she kind of gets comfy on the floor and starts basically kind of ritual casting this spell, right? Using various bones and other ingredients that perhaps are a little less distinguishable that she has gathered together, and she is kind of sitting on the floor, and you watch as she kind of tips her head back, and when she brings her head straight again and is facing you all, her eyes have kind of turned this weird putrid kind of white color, and she starts wailing a little bit, she's just kind of making a fair bit of noise.
Mm-hmm.
And then she stops wailing, and she still seems to be in this kind of trance, right? And she says to you, the secret to releasing her, she says, releasing Malvola is Tiamat's blood. She says, if she can drink some of Tiamat's blood, says, that will break the bond that she has that holds her there. She says,
who needs to drink it?
Ralsala.
Ralsala.
Okay.
She says, oh, I see you are also on a bigger mission. You have another goal in mind.
Yep.
She says, you can find the answer for the location of what you're looking for. Says, at Bell's Forge. Bell will know the answer of where that is. But he will not give you this freely. You should come bearing gifts. Says, Lulu knows where to find these gifts.
Okay.
She says, you can find Tiamat's blood at Arkan's tower. But don't trifle with him, because he has a powerful ally. He wears it around his neck.
I don't what for him?
Trifle with
Oh, and that's Arkham?
Arkan.
Arkan. Oh, okay. Arkan.
Arkhan.
H-A-N. Is Arkan's what?
Tower.
Sorry.
It's alright.
Character Arkan. Crap.
Arkan Tower.
Gee, that wouldn't happen to be Arkin the Cruel, would it?
Nope, it's Arkin the Pleasant.
Oh, cool.
His twin brother. He can provide the blood, but what?
She said, but don't trifle with him because he has a powerful ally that he wears around his neck.
Okay.
And how do we find this tower?
Good question.
I think she said Lulu will know, doesn't she?
No, Lulu knows of Belle's gifts. Lulu might.
Oh, Lulu knows where to find Belle's gifts,
Yeah.
not what they are.
Okay.
She has a poserful ally.
A very poserful ally. I was typing quickly, okay? And I'm a poor typer.
All right. And with that, she kind of closes her eyes and blinks them back open again, and she seems to have broken her trance, and the spell is finished.
Okay.
Now, you had asked that we watch over your residence while you're gone.
So
What do we do if other, supplicants show up? Because I don't think any of us have your abilities.
She says, I'm not expecting anyone, so tell them to go away.
Palkas says, okay.
Rude. I think we can handle that.
Yeah.
Thorn, are you going to escort her?
Yes, would you like a drive over to the Emporium?
She says, I think I'll have to get there in time.
Why don't some of us stay here and some of us go with you?
She says, I'll leave that choice with you. You know your abilities better than I do.
Palkas says, I'll stay.
Well,
I was expecting to stay here for the duration, so
I have no desire to be anywhere near where she is taking a bath.
So then,
Coyra?
rude.
Coyra, you can get a free bag.
When you say that, all the little skulls around her necklace cackle.
I'm just getting into the proper mindset in case somebody comes to visit. That I can be rude to them.
So, Coyra, are you going along with Thorn?
Coyra just shrugs and says, I'm fine with whatever.
I think you should go with Thorn and keep him company.
Okay. Coyra just
Keep
Yeah,
them
but
out.
trouble.
agrees, like, sure, why not? I should keep an eye on what he eats, right?
Yes.
Sounds, yeah.
Also-
And make sure he doesn't stab anything.
Who's
That
driving?
is more difficult to do than the eating bit. I'll do my best, but we know how Thorn is.
I'm not going to stab anything.
He'll be
We've
too
met
busy.
everyone, they were all fine.
So who's going to drive?
I will. I've
Uh-oh.
watched Malvola, it'll be fine.
Can I take back what I said?
Would you rather drive, Coyra?
We've all been took
Oh no, I will be a danger on the road for sure.
driver training.
Coyra has not paid any attention on the driver training, so.
Oh god.
Where did we leave that other vehicle?
I mean, it's a desert, it'll be fine. Okay. Well, come along then, ladies. Spa day awaits.
Have fun at the Emporium, but not too much fun.
Coyra just throws an angry view at you, like,
Thorn.
don't.
He looks at Thorn and says, Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
I'll try.
Please don't do the things that he would do. Please.
Palkas would drink Ica, right?
No.
And Grimm's
Thorn
gonna,
roll a d20.
Boom.
Thorn's gonna plop down outside the hut, leaning up against the hut, and try to get whatever rest he can.
Okay.
At least a short rest kind of thing, but
All right.
Oh yeah, you need that, don't you?
yeah, just
I forgot. You got
Oh,
ripped up.
nice. What?
What?
It's making up for those ones from last week.
If only you were rolling for hit points per a level up. Short rest won't change anything for me, so I'm just kind of sitting there.
Okay, let me
that
do
puts
that.
me at a slightly better survival possibility.
Lulu is going to stay with you guys as well, by the way, at
Red
Red
Roots
Ruth's. Yes,
abode.
thank you. All right,
Yeah,
so
Mahadi set and making her feel a little uncomfortable.
all right, so then oh, hang on one second. Let me just do that. So
Yeah, just what I needed. That puts him back at full.
so Thorn
Only
and
took 6 of 8 hit dice.
well, oh. But, so Thorn and Coyra heading back to the Emporium. It is exactly where you left it. It has not moved at all. So you're yeah, the whole time that Red Ruth is in the vehicle, like she's gonna sit in one of the outdoor seats, you know, and she will
Good.
ask if you've got goggles.
I expect we have some knocking around in the inside area.
We may actually.
I'll see if I can scrounge up a pair for her.
Okay. So yeah, you'll be able to find some. And she puts them on directly, and she looks like especially crazed at this point. You know, she's got like the hair is like sticking out, and
It was possible to look even more crazy.
It's always possible to look more crazy. Take it.
and the whole time that you are driving there, she is like cackling wildly, and when you finally get there, yeah, I mean, she's got like, she looks like she's just like been through a tumble dryer or something, and she says, "Oh, it's been so long since I've ridden in one of these things." She says, "I forgot how much fun they were," and
They're quite jolly, aren't they?
Is there a handout for her?
no.
Oh.
There might be, but it totally would spoil stuff.
Oh,
So she'll kind of like ease herself out of the vehicle in the gentlest way possible, trying not to fall, and start kind of hobbling away over to the Emporium, and then Mahadi is at the gate again, you know, greeting everybody, and
Before we leave the car, Coyra just takes 2 cotton balls out of her ear and puts them down. Those machines make a lot of noise. She has been creative.
yeah,
Also, someone made a lot of noise too, so...
Yep. She was like cackling like a wild person, yes. So Mahadi kind of takes Red Ruth's hand and says, "Oh my dear, it's been so long since I've seen you, you know," and we'll just kind of gently escort, you know, she's got her like a hand looped through his arm, and he's gently escorting her to the Infernal Rapture. And we'll say to Thorn and Coyra, Do you plan on accompanying her?
I don't know what services she requires. She may require things that we do not. However, we would certainly like to take you up on your offer of a meal each, and I have a pair of soul coins here to pay for us, and some bathing and general de-stenching and de-sliming would be appreciated.
So, when he asked if we are accompanying her, Coyra just looks really concerned.
And when you say you don't know what services she requires, Red Ruth says, I require all the services.
Coyra looks even more concerned and tries to back off, like, is it too late to go back?
Mahadi's eyes get really big and this broad smile across his face, and he says, of course you do, my dear. And so he presents you in the lobby, presents Red Ruth with paperwork, and she happily signs it, and he folds it, seals it, and puts it inside a pocket in his robe. And he presents you two also with the same kind of thing. And it is, oh, hang on, let me get there. It's basically paperwork that says, I do promise to pay for all the services that I engage and all the food that I eat, and should I run out of money, or I'm paraphrasing here, it's like full of like just legal jargon, right? And says, should I run out of money, then service will be substituted for any funds lacking, kind of thing. So
Coyra is actually really reading through it to see if there's like any signs to back out of, like anything, like maybe I'm selling my soul or whatever. She's really trying to find a way. But I think she's
yes,
a bit failing.
Let us take a moment with